All right. Shalom, shalom. First and foremost, I would like to give all praise and glory to YAHAWAH, BAHASHAM, YAHAWASHI, BAHASHAM, Rakakwadash. Double honors to the elders and the apostles of Great Millstone that taught us this truth. And salutations to the hopeful elect that's around the four corners of the globe. And the elect begins with the 144,000. YAHAWAH, who the world ignorantly calls God and Jehovah. BAHASHAM is in the name. YAHAWASHI, who the world ignorantly calls Jesus Christ. The Rakakwadash, which is the Holy Spirit. I'm the brother I belong with the gym at Chicago camp out here in Chicago. Come back at you, brothers and sisters of the household of faith of the Hopeful Right Select with another lesson. And Lord willing, I hope this lesson be edifying through the spirit and power of YAHAWASHI YAHAWASHI. Once again, I hope this lesson is edifying. It's a lock for the voice crack. Getting a little bit under the weather, but hey, the show must go on. But just really want to do a lesson on Zachariah 14 and verse 12. I'm gonna read it. Really going into that thermonuclear destruction, man, which the Lord is going to use, to ultimately destroy, Babylon the Great, which is America, man. Because what, the first death was by water, and the second death is going to be by the way of fire, man, which is by those thermonuclear missiles, which is going to be the result, of America being destroyed, man. Those thermonuclear missiles, man. Because America is that lake of fire you read about in the book of Revelations, and ultimately everybody that's stuck here on ground zero, hey, when those nuclear missiles drop on the shores of America, hey, this is going to be their fate. But I'm gonna just jump straight into it. This is the book of Zechariah 14 and verse 12, and this shall be the plague wherewith the Lord will smite all the people that have fought against Jerusalem. And right, that includes 2/3 of our own people, because what ultimately 2/3 of our people, you so-called Negroes, Latinos, and Native Americans, they ultimately come up against the prophets and come up against the word, man. So 2/3 of our people is going to have their place in the lake of fire, man. Start back at the top, Zechariah 14 and verse 12. And this shall be the plague wherewith the Lord will smite all the people that have fought against Jerusalem. Their flesh shall consume away while they stand upon their feet, and their eyes shall consume away in their holes, and their tongue shall consume away in their mouth. Right, going into that thermonuclear destruction, man. This is going to be what happens to an individual once they get engulfed in that fire, man. Hey, just look at Sarah Connor off of Terminator 2, man. How ultimately her eyes consumed away, her tongue consumed away, and ultimately her flesh consumed away while she was standing upon her feet, man. You could watch that in Terminator 2, man. The vision that ultimately Sarah Connor had when ultimately those nuclear missiles, ultimately destroyed the city, man. And that is the plague, man, what the Lord is going to ultimately judge the people with, man. That thermonuclear missile. That's going to be the ultimate result, of America, man. America being destroyed by those thermonuclear missiles. But this is the book of Ezekiel 22 and verse 18. Son of man, the house of Israel is to me become dross. All they are brass and tin and iron and lead in the midst of the furnace. They are even the dross of silver. Therefore, thus saith the Lord Yahweh, because ye are all become dross, behold, therefore I will gather you in the midst of Jerusalem, as they gather silver and brass and iron and lead and tin, and into the midst of the furnace, to blow the fire upon it, to melt it. So I will gather you in my anger and in my fury, and I will leave you there and melt you. And right, how is that going to happen, man? As I read in that Zechariah 14 and 12, by the way of those thermonuclear missiles, man. That's going to be that judgment which the Lord is going to give 2/3 of our people, man. Because ultimately, we know that the elect is going to be delivered, from the destruction, but 2/3 of our people is going to have their place in the lake of fire, man. And that's America being 100% on fire, man. When that destruction hits this place, man. Let's actually grab this in Malachi real quick. Bear with me for a second. This is the book of Malachi 4 and verse 1. For behold, the day cometh that shall burn as an oven, and all the proud, yea, and all that do wickedly shall be stubble. And the day that cometh shall burn them up, saith the Lord of hosts, that it shall leave them neither root nor branch. All right. Going into that destruction, man. The day cometh, thou shalt burn as an oven, man. Because ultimately, when those nuclear missiles, hit the soils of America, man, ultimately, the elements are going to be, the elements are going to be consumed, man. Ultimately, because it talks about this place, America, being a big desert, man. Because it talks about, this place is going to be burning from generation to generation. And ultimately, when the fire, ultimately quench, it's ultimately this place, America, is going to be what? Nothing but a big desert, man. I'm going to read that again. Malachi 4 and verse 1, it says, For behold, the day cometh that shall burn as an oven, and all the proud, yea, and all that do wickedly shall be stubble. And the day that cometh shall burn the most, saith the Lord of hosts, that it shall leave them neither root nor branch. And exactly right, man. That's what those missiles are going to do, man. It's going to destroy everything in its path, man. And, Lord willing, I could do some editing. If not, if Sarah Connor ultimately getting burnt on that fence, man, as her flesh was consuming away in her eyes consuming away in her head, and ultimately her tongue consuming away in her mouth, man. Let me actually grab this real quick. This is the book of 2nd Ezra 16 and verse 1. It says, Woe be unto thee, Babylon and Asia. Woe be unto thee, Egypt and Syria. Gird up yourselves with cloths of sack and hair. Bewail your children, and be sorry, for your destruction is at hand. A sword is sent upon you, and who may turn it back? A fire is sent among you, who may quench it? Plagues are sent unto you, and it's like it says, what is he that may drive them away? And right, this the YAHAWAH BAHASHAM YAHAWASHI that's bringing these said plagues upon this world, man, and mainly America, man. And what is that ultimate plague? As I read in Zachariah 14 and verse 12, man, those thermonuclear missiles, man. It says, may any man, verse 6 says, may any man drive away a hungry lion in the wood, or may anyone quench the fire and stubble when it had begun to burn? May one turn again the arrow that is shot of a strong archer? The mighty Lord sendeth the plagues, and who is he that can drive them away? And right, nobody can drive these said plagues away. Once YAHAWAH BAHASHAM YAHAWASHI sends these plagues forward, hey, they're going to ultimately accomplish that which YAHAWAH BAHASHAM YAHAWASHI please, man. Verse 9, it says, a fire shall go forth from his wrath, and who is he that may quench it? He shall cast lightnings, and who shall not fear? He shall thunder, and who shall not be afraid? The Lord shall threaten, and who shall not be utterly beaten to the powder of his at his presence? The earth quaketh, and the foundations thereof. The sea arises up with waves from the deep, and the waves of it are troubled, and the fishes thereof also before the Lord, and before the glory of his power. Because it even talks about in Isaiah 24, the earth shall reel to and fro like a drunkard, loosely paraphrasing. And that's what's going to ultimately cause this great earthquake, man. Those thermonuclear missiles ultimately hitting this place. So many missiles are going to hit this place that it's going to shake the whole world, man. And everybody that's stuck in the soils of America, when those missiles hit this place, they're going to be destroyed, man. Because the only ones that's ultimately being delivered off the soils of America is the elect of the nation of Israel, of you so-called Negroes, Latinos, Native Americans, and speckled birds, man. Verse 13, it said, and it reads, For strong is his right hand that bendeth the bow, his arrows that he shooteth are sharp, and shall not miss when they begin to be shot into the ends of the world. Right, this is how the prophets of old described the thermonuclear missiles, man. I believe it's in Revelation 6 how John the Revelator describes the missiles as stars. Here in the 2nd Ezra 16, which I'm reading, Ezra described it as what? As arrows being shot from one end of the earth to the other end, man. And ultimately what? We're ultimately, because, that's at the end result of World War III, these missiles are going to be shot in America, man. I'm going to read that again. Verse 13 says, For strong is his right hand that bendeth the bow, his arrows that he shooteth are sharp, and shall not miss when they begin to be shot into the ends of the world. And right, talking about those missiles, man. Because I believe it was either North Korea or Russia that essentially said, I believe it's 30 minutes that their missiles can ultimately reach from their home, from either Russia or Korea all the way to the Americas. I believe they said within 30 minutes, man. It reads, verse 14 says, Behold, the plagues are sent and shall not return again until they come upon the earth. The fire is kindled and shall not be put out till it consume the foundation of the earth. And that's exactly what these missiles are going to do, man. America is going to be 100% destroyed by the way of those thermonuclear missiles, man. Hey, Malachi 4, which I just read, man. Hey, the day cometh, thou shalt burn as an oven, man. Hey, this is the plague wherein the Lord will smite all the people, man. All the wicked, man. Hey, these other nations and 2/3 of the Lord's own people, man. Verse 16, it says, Like as an arrow which is shot of a mighty archer returneth not backward, even so the plagues that shall be sent upon earth shall not return again. And exactly right, man. Going into the plagues, which, talking about the missiles ultimately, man, how the Lord is ultimately going to use these missiles to destroy this place, man. And ultimately it's going to consume everything that's in its path, man. And ultimately, America being on fire. You reading the book of Revelation, talks about the lake of fire. That's America being on fire, man. And that's going to be the result of these missiles being shot upon this place, man. You know? But just something quick I wanted to get into. Salakia for the voice crack. Lord, when I hope this lesson was edifying, I want to end up again all praise, honor, glory to Yahawah, BAHASHAM, YAHAWASHI, BAHASHAM, YAHAWASHI. Double honors to the elders, the apostles of great millstone, that taught us the truth, and salutations to the hopeful elect that's around the four corners of the globe. Lord, when I hope this lesson was edifying. Till next time, call me Asharallah, Shalom, and Abba. Until next time, Lord willing.